Were you watching Grandma? How did you know to look at her specifically? It's all about staging. Today, we will break down the example with the granny and explain how staging helps make visual storytelling smooth and clear. Hello everyone, this is Animation Club School team, and this is another video in the series about the 12 principles of animation. In general terms, staging is about where objects are located on the screen, how and where they move, which direction they face, and at what angle the camera is placed. In the book, The Illusion of Life, Disney Animation, staging is described as a tool for visually presenting an idea, aiming to make everything clear. Actions, silhouettes, facial expressions, and the characters' moods. Animators hold the audience's attention on elements and details that are most important in a particular scene or individual frame. So if the camera focuses on the doorknob, that doorknob is the big boss of the scene. It draws the viewer's attention and guides them. This is the essence of staging. Staging includes elements like character poses, backgrounds, lighting, music, and camera movement. The combination of these elements creates the intended perception of the scene. For instance, to evoke a sense of eeriness, the background might show an old house, sharp actions, clouds covering the moon, and flickering shadows. A rainbow would obviously be out of place here. Staging helps to plan scenes so the viewer understands where to look and in what sequence, making the visuals come together as a story. Each frame tells the viewer, look here, and now here. The main goal is to express the idea in the simplest and most convincing way. Staging is usually said during the storyboard phase, then the layout artist combines the storyboard with the background. And if you're interested, we have a related course. Check it out via link in the description. Let's continue. The main components of staging are the placements of the objects and characters, poses and silhouettes, and timing. Let's break each of them down. How objects and characters are placed affect how harmonious the image looks on the screen. The viewpoint plays a significant role. Animation allows you to move from one point to the other, making visuals engaging and the story more captivating. Angles also impact the scene's appeal and expressiveness. These are camera positions relative to the scene and can vary widely. A neutral angle is used to get the most natural position of the object in the frame, with the camera at the same level as a regular photo camera. A low angle increases the importance of the object because the camera, looking up at it, makes it loom over the viewer. A high angle does the opposite, reducing the object's significance. Now the viewer looks down at the object. There is also the figure 8 method or the 180-degree rule, used to show one character looking at another one or to display a dialogue. Filming is done from one side of an imaginary axis between the people talking. If a camera crosses that axis, the people will appear to be looking in the same direction, which can confuse the viewer and create dissonance. Another important element is shot sizes. Close-ups are used to show facial expressions or to highlight important details. The closer the shot, the more focused the viewer is on the detail that's shown. Wide shots are meant to show the character's surroundings. They can also demonstrate the scene's context and what's happening around the character. A medium shot shows the character from the waist up, leaving room for actions and gestures. This keeps focused on the main subject while showing a bit of the environment, which is why it's the most commonly used shot. Besides angles and shot sizes, there's the rule of thirds. The screen is divided into 3 equal horizontal and vertical areas. The main object should be in the central rectangle or near the intersections of the lines, focusing the viewer's attention properly. The camera's directional flow ties all of these rules together, allowing smooth transitions in between shots. Look at the conversation between Judy and her boss. To avoid confusion, each character's camera angle remains unchanged throughout the sequence. Judy is always on the left and the boss is always on the right. This simple strategy keeps the audience engaged during the whole dialogue. Now let's talk about poses and silhouettes. They show the character's state in the environment. A single glance at the image should be enough to determine what emotions a character is feeling or what they intend to do. For this, you need a so-called strong pose, which is achieved through exaggeration. This technique proves clear context for the character's intentions and actions even if the character is completely blacked out. Exaggeration is achieved through action lines, implying motion dynamics and direction. But as always, don't overdo it. The pose should be built on straight or curved lines. Random zigzags don't establish direction. To make the silhouette and the pose work, you must set the event's duration on screen. In other words, the action's timing. A series of simultaneous active actions by different characters can confuse the viewer, so focus on one main action or a series of key actions by the main character. But if the idea requires showing multiple characters in action at once, try to maintain harmony. For example, when characters join forces, they move as one. Pauses also help bring harmony to the screen, giving the brain time to process what it sees. These breaks mentally prepare the audience for the next action. Now, as promised, let's return to the granny example. Watch. First, we see two main objects, the granny and the cookies. The focus is on the granny by using blur. Her silhouette shows that she's clearly upset. A wide shot and a high angle show the granny alone with the vending machine with no one to call for help. We see her fearlessly struggling for the cookies. A medium shot and a neutral angle give the viewer a breather and prepare them for the next attack on the machine. Using the rule of thirds, we see both the character's emotion and the source of that emotion, the elusive cookies. In the next frame, we see the granny again, now in a strong pose showing her determination. We understand she feels pain at the moment of impact. Finally, a close-up emphasizes her emotions after her failure. The character is centered and the camera is aimed to focus on her eyes and crooked glasses. She didn't get the cookies. With proper staging, full contact with the viewer is established. But what happens if the staging is neglected? Here's an example. We see characters on the left standing face to face. Their profiles overlap and their forms are unclear because their shapes are minimized visually. The characters on the right stand at a 45-degree angle to each other and the viewer. This way, we read their emotions not only from facial expressions but also from their silhouettes. The silhouette is incredibly important. It allows us to understand the character's situation at a glance. Look at this couple. We don't need details to know the guy is proposing and the girl is surprised and touched. Here's another example. Both drawings show a boy handing over a newspaper. On the left, we clearly see the silhouette of the newspaper in his hand. But on the right, all of the details blend together, making it hard to spot the key object, the newspaper. Don't forget that the correct object placement and camera angle as they determine whether your viewer shivers in fear or laughs. Also, remember that a detailed background shouldn't compete with the animation for attention. If you really want to surround the character with many background objects, find a way to make your character stand out, like using lighting or focus. In the end, everything should function as a single organism. To learn staging, start with character silhouettes. Draw poses that show anger, admiration, disappointment, fear, surprise, sleepiness, or impatience. Your goal is for the viewers to understand the boy's feelings at a glance. Then make it harder. Place the boy in a room and experiment with camera angles and shot sizes. Don't be afraid to make wrong combinations, like a wide shot with a high angle. The goal is to understand and feel how these tools work together and affect the viewer. Once you grasp these, you will easily pick the right combinations. Now, let's summarize. To create good staging, keep your characters in half or a third of the camera frame to focus the viewer's attention on them. Avoid unnecessary details. One character should perform one clear action. Each action should have a set duration. The backgrounds shouldn't distract us from the main object on the screen. The best way to learn and apply all of these principles is by taking any of the courses linked in the description. The script was created by Alexei Shalatov and Lydia Sayenka. The voiceover is provided by Kata. Editing is provided by Oleg Anufriev and Margarita Levchenko. Keep learning! This was Animation Club School, and that's all for today.